Welcome to the Auburn Swimming and Diving Report as we talk things over with Tigers head coach Brett Hawk, and we'll be previewing both the women's and men's NCAA Swimming and Diving Championships, the women in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the men the week following in Austin, Texas. And this becomes, I guess, one big blur for the coaching staff because you head to Minneapolis and go right from Minneapolis to Austin, Texas.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, Andy. Right now we're just getting the women prepared, but at the same time the men, the week later, and you go through that whole meet. Then you get to kind of reset yourself, and then the men come in and you fly to Austin and it starts all over again. So it's a pretty intense 2 weeks.
It certainly is. All right, let's talk about preparation for both, and let's start with the Auburn women. I thought a good finish for the Tigers at the SEC Championships. What have you worked on? What can you work on in between SECs and Nationals?
I was really happy they moved up a spot from last year. They actually beat the Tennessee team that finished third at the National Championships last year. So I felt like the women finished really strong. We're just trying to go in and be at our best again. I think relays are our strength both on the women's and the men's side. So we're trying to be really good as a team in those relays and then individually get people in finals.
As you look at it, and as you and I talk right now, diving is in the process of qualifying at the Zone B Championship, so you don't know what your potential is as far as the points are concerned. As you look at Nationals right now, and on the women's side, is there and I know I ask you this every year, but is there a day where it is a key day for the Tigers with regard to scoring at this point?
There's two relays on the first day, the 200 freestyle relay and the 400 medley relay. So I think both those relays are very strong for us. We have to do really well there. And the 50 freestyles on the first day, which is another strong event for us. So I think the first day we're looking to get off to a strong start and then hopefully carry the momentum in the next few days.
Talk about Minneapolis as a venue. I know you've been there many times on both the men's and women's side for Nationals, but talk about this venue and this city as a host site for the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championships.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it's an ideal venue to go and swim in with all the snow and the winter storms they get up there, but actually the pool itself is very, very fast. It's a great venue to race in. It's always done us well. It was actually the first venue that I won my first NCAA title back in '97 with the team. So it's got a lot of fond memories for us as a group, and we've always done really well there.
All right. Well, talk about the teams to beat at the women's nationals, if you would.
Well, there's no doubt. I think the Georgia team is kind of the favorites right now, and we faced them at the SECs, and they were very dominant. They're very balanced across the board, and then the Cal team I think is also very good with Missy Franklin as their freshman leader. But
not a bad freshman leader, is it?
Not too bad when you've got a triple Olympic gold medalist as your freshman leader. So there's a couple of strong teams out there, and so we're really looking to get back in the top 10 and have a strong performance there.
Do you take the depth you would like to take to the women's nationals?
It's really changed. The last year, the qualifying actually changed, and so they took away relay qualification, and so now it's just based on individuals. And so I think everybody's taken a step down in how many they used to take. But you can take 4 alternates as well now. So we're taking 7 women who qualified individually, and then 4 alternates. So it ends up being around about the same, but the alternates can only swim on relays. They can't swim individually.
Talk about that decision. Who made that decision, and what led into that decision?
I think it came from some of the smaller programs around the country really wanting to get some disparity in terms of how many people go to the meet, how many teams go to the meet, how many people can actually score at the meet. Right. So I think it went from maybe 40 to 50 teams. Now there's 60 to 70 teams actually represented, and so they've opened it up, and it actually has become a lot more competitive this way, I think.
Yeah, there were times in the past when you could go in knowing pretty well what you were going to score, and there were times I can remember talking with Coach Marsh about this that they pretty well knew they were going to win a national championship just on numbers alone.
Yeah, and that's gone away these days. Right. It really doesn't happen like that. Anyone in the top 10 to 15 can really have a great meet and knock anybody else out. And so I think the top 10 teams, both on the men's and women's side, are still very close, or even closer than they used to be now. because of that rule change.
All right. From the women's to the men's, and Austin, Texas is another one of those venues, one of those sites where that they've held the Nationals before. And there's got to be some sentimental value for Auburn heading to Austin, Texas as well, I would think.
Yeah, it's always a very close rival of ours. We went down there in January to swim against them and get the young guys used to the pool, and I think it was great for us to do that. I think they're going to go in with a lot more confidence, knowing they swam well against Texas, and knowing the blocks and the turns and just the atmosphere itself. And so I think the boys are really looking forward to it.
Here's a very uninformed question. You talk about the blocks and the turns. Can there be a big difference in how they feel, how they perform, and that type of thing when you're going from one venue to the other?
Yeah, it really can, and I think that's why they pick these venues over and over again, because a lot of these pools have that kind of ambiance that you want, that atmosphere, and then they have the pool that you need, and so I think you put the total package together, and that's why they keep coming back to these venues.
All right. Auburn, of course, finished second at the SEC Championships, a good finish for the Auburn men behind Florida. What do you expect out of the men's nationals?
It's going to be a close one. There's not a lot between the top 10 teams on that side of things. I think diving is going to play a factor in some of these teams as well, so hopefully we can get a couple qualified. Right now, Florida is the favorite on paper, and so it's good to kind of keep the pressure on them. That they are a very good team, and we saw them at the SECs. But we're going in with our best guys, and it's really down to how they match up against each other, the best against the best. And so we feel really good with who we're taking.
Beyond Florida, beyond Auburn, who else figures in your mind right now?
Right now, I think Cal and then Michigan are obviously the defending champions. They're still very good. And so they're the top three teams that I think are really going to battle for those few spots up top.
You mentioned at day one for the women. I've got to think that's really important for the men, considering Auburn's strengths as well.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we have to get off to a great start. We're the defending champions in the first event, the 200 freestyle relay. We're number one in the country right now. And we really want to set the tone with that relay. And so I think that'll kind of set us up for the next couple of days after that relay.
I know you've got a lot of miles coming up. I wish all the best, War Eagle, to you.
War Eagle, thank you.
Tigers head coach Brett Hawk on the Auburn Swimming and Diving Report.